Sitting at the sushi, but I'll come see you again.
Check sound 1 2.
No.
Sound check 1 1 2. Check sound 1 2. 1 1 2. 1 2. Check sound.
Okay, Mr.
Sound check 1 1 2. 1 2. Check sound.
Okay. The center. Okay, I'll come. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to commence with the service in a short moment. if we could kindly ask you to take your seats, and I think we'll start in the next 2 minutes. Thank you.
Is it again?
Yeah. We can come all into the big thing. No, it's fine.
Sorry. My Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, and a very good afternoon to each and every one of you. On behalf of the Naidoo family, they would like to thank you for making time out in observing this memorial service of their dearestly beloved dad, Mr. Balasundaram Naidoo, affectionately known as Alan. We are going to commence with the opening prayer. If we could kindly ask you to rise. गजाननं भूतगणादिसेवितं कवित्तजमोपलसारपक्षितम् उमाश्रितं शोकविनाशकारणं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरा पादपङ्कजम् नमामि विघ्नेश्वर पादपङ्कजम् मुन्नवने ज्ञानिमुगत्तवने मुक्तिनलं சொன்னவனே தூய்மே சுகத்தவனே மன்னவனே சிற்பழனே ஐங்கரணே சென்சடையன் சீகரனே தட்பரணே நின்றால் சரணம் ஊடகனாமுணந்து ஓதத் ஆரியவன் நீல உலாவிகள் நீமணிவேணி உலகலாம் உணர்ந்து மோதக்கு ஆரியவன் நீல உலாவிகள் நீமணிவேணி ஆலைகள் சோதையில் அம்பலத்தலாழ்வாள் மரிசிலம்படி வாட்டி வருந்தோ ஆலைகள் சோதையில் அம்பலத்தலாழ்வாள் மரிசிலம்படி வாட்டி வருந்தோ மரிசிலம் Thank you. May be seated. விநாயகா 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 விக்ன விநாசக விநாயகா விக்ன விநாசக விநாயகா 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 கனவின்று வாராயன் தேவமே கண்ணால கண்ணால போருமே துணிராகி வருவாய் எனதாகி உயிரே நீ சொன்னபடியே நானாடுவே கந்தா முருகா வருவாய் சாந்தி பெறவே வருவாய் கந்தா முருகா வருவாய் சாந்தி பெறவே வருவாய் கனவில் வாழ்கின்ற செல்வாயே கனிதீரே ஒரு பாதை கனவில் வாழ்கின்ற செல்வாயே கனிதீரே ஒரு பாதை கந்தா முருகா வருவாய் சாந்தி பெறவே வருவாய் கனவில் வாராயன் தேவனே கண்ணால் கண்டால் போதுமே கனவில் வாராயன் தேவனே கண்ணால் கண்டால் போதுமே துணிராக வருவாய் எனதாயிரே நீ சொன்னபடியே நானாடுவேன் துணிராக வருவாய் எனதாயிரே நீ சொன்னபடியே நானாடுவேன் நீ சொன்னபடியே நானாடுவேன் கந்தா முருகா வருவாய் சாந்தி பெறவே வருவாய் முருகா 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 பலகடமாகும் நாமம் திருத்து அன்றும் என் நாவில் கொண்டு இருகலம் இருப்பிறப்பும் உன்னாற்றும் வென்றே துணிக்கிறேன் போரே தொழுந்து வணங்கி துணியறிந்து உணரி களம் கண்ணா அன்னை தில்லே சிதம்பரத்தரனே கோவில் நடராஜ பெருமாளே. நந்தனுக்கு திருக்காட்சி எந்தனிலும் இது நாள பால நாள பணிந்த தலம். நந்தனுக்கு திருக்காட்சி எந்தனிலும் இது நாள பால நாள பணிந்த தலம். குந்தருக்கு புகழ் பாடும் முனைவேனுக்கு குந்தருக்கு புகழ் பாடும் முனைவேனுக்கு அந்த தூயே மாறினாள் தன்னை அன்னத்தை தில்லை கோவில் நடராஜ பெருமாளே. ஒரு காக்கும் கிணரமாக இருவோனே சிவமேனி சிவகாமி நாயக நீ சிவகாமி சிதம்பரத்தில் வாழகனே தில்லை கோவில் நடராஜ பெருமாளே. दीन करुणाकरणे नटराजा नीलकंठने. दीन करुणाकरणे नटराजा नीलकंठने. दीन करुणाकरणे नटराजा नीलकंठने. निन्नरुள் புகழ்ல பணியம் நின்னருள் ஈரன்னருளம். நின்னருள் புகழ்ல பணியம் நின்னருள் ஈரன்னருளம். மௌன குருவேதனையே எனையாண்டா நீலகண்டனே. மௌன குருவேதனையே எனையாண்டா நீலகண்டனே. தீன கருணாகரனே நடராஜா நீலகண்டனே. தீன கருணாகரனே நடராஜா நீலகண்டனே. நின்னருள் புகழ்ல பணியம் நின்னருள் ஈரன்னருளம். நின்னருள் புகழ்ல பணியம் நின்னருள் ஈரன்னருளம். ஞானிகள் மனம் விளம்பம் நீலகண்டனே. ஞானிகள் மனம் விளம்பம் நீலகண்டனே. மௌன குரு மௌன குரு மௌன குரு மௌன குருவேதனையே எனையாண்டா நீலகண்டனே. தீன கருணாகரனே நடராஜா நீலகண்டனே. தீன கருணாகரனே நடராஜா நீலகண்டனே. தீன கருணாகரனே நடராஜா நீலகண்டனே. நீலகண்டனே நீலகண்டனே. தில்லையம்பல நடராஜா சிறுமிநாதனே பரமேசா. தில்லையம்பல நடராஜா சிறுமிநாதனே பரமேசா. ஆரதி தாண்டவா ஆமியாண்டவா. தில்லையம்பல Shambho Mahadeva, Shambho Mahadeva. Shambho Mahadeva, Shambho Mahadeva, Shambho Mahadeva, Shambho Mahadeva, Shambho Mahadeva, Mahadeva. Once again, my Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, and a very good afternoon to each and every one of you. As we gather here today, we are reminded by the facts that are stated within our Holy Scripture, namely the Bhagavad Gita, that in this infinite cycle of birth and death, the Atma is transcendental. It is beyond the body, it is beyond the physical attribute that we may call it. It is infinite. And just as our scriptures say that the spark of divinity of the Creator is present in each and every one of us, that is the aspect of the Atma. Physically, this Atma needs to take on a body so that it fulfills certain tasks and accomplishes certain parts of its journey. But once this has come to a rest, the body perishes, but the Atma continues its journey. Today, we gather in prayer, in commemoration for our dearest Uncle Alan, to say, dearest God, in whatever name, form, belief you may believe in, as this soul makes its way towards moksha, towards liberation, towards the infinite light, that the journey be that much more blissful. That if there is any speed bumps, if there is any obstacles that needs to be overcome, collectively as we pray here today, we pray that may this Atma overcome this obstacle with a minimal amount of pain and suffering. With that being said, we have a few tributes for today. And it gives me great pleasure in calling upon Ramola, who will do the first tribute for today. Ramola.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for all being here today. It means a lot that you've all attended. In the days since we last said goodbye to Dad, I've been struck by something I didn't realize before. I always saw my dad as my dad. But sitting here with all of you today and having heard all your stories, I realized that he was so much more than just my dad. He was a confidant, a loyal friend, and a steady support for so many people. Dad was a man who touched so many hearts. I still remember so clearly when I was quite younger, we used to pass this old lady who used to bake at the bottom of Reservoir Hills, and she used to have this brass pot in her hand, and she'd have a cigarette in the other hand. And Dad will always stop and give her some money. And sometimes I'll be like, Dad, she's just using the money to buy some cigarettes. And he'll be like, no, it's fine. She can just use it. Even now, the same joy seems to follow us. Just the other day, Mom and I were in the store buying some prayer items. And while she was trying to pick out a coconut, an old man stopped and asked her if she was playing the maracas. When Mom explained that she was just checking how much water was in it, he laughed and he told her that she should knock it against my head. We both just looked at each other and we laughed because that was such a Dad thing. That's something that he often did whenever we are out in a restaurant or even if we were just out shopping. He would just laugh or make fun of someone who was around. It was just a beautiful reminder of his mischievous spirit. I've also learned so much about the conversations that Dad had in those final days. Even then, his main concern was not being a trouble to anyone. And that is why he told me not to book my flight to come and see him. He was just putting my peace of mind and others' needs above his own comfort. He lived his life thinking of everyone else first, right up until the very end. I used to call Dad and Mom every single day. And oftentimes I'd call him and he wouldn't pick up my call immediately. And I'd get really upset. I'll call Mom and I'll say to her, I don't know why Dad's not answering my call. And he'd take some time before he'd return my call. And this week, after speaking to Pastor Winston, I realized that, from what Pastor Winston said to me, that when Dad saw my name flash up on his phone, he would oftentimes tear, and so he would need a few moments to calm himself down before he could call me back. So now I know that he wasn't just ignoring me, he was just waiting for a moment to find his voice so that he could speak to me. That was the deep love that he had for all of us. And just the other day, my 5-year-old Cole was sitting with my phone and looking at my screen, and I had a picture of Dad and I on it. And he just sat silently looking at the screen. And when Vash and I asked him what was wrong, he just said that he misses his papa. I couldn't believe that he was able to make such a profound impact on such a little young heart. And it just shows that Dad's love wasn't just in his words or his advice, it was also in his presence. You didn't have to be an adult to feel his warmth, you just had to be near him. I hope that Dad knew how much he meant to us and how much we loved him and how much we miss him.
Thank you, Ramola, for that lovely tribute. You know, whilst for those of you that were there at the funeral, one of the resounding messages we got is that from the tributes, from the messages, and the various speeches that were there, that Uncle Alan, Brother Alan, was a man who was infinite in his giving. He gave without being asked. He was always there as a support structure, no matter whatever time, whatever place you were. If he could give his support, he would be there. And next up I have to call the next speaker, which is Gia. And Gia will do a tribute on behalf of the family as well.
Hello everyone. Good evening. I'm going to be talking about my grandpa, my papa. I love my grandpa. I treasured my grandpa, and like no other granddaughter, he could ever love him. The things I have done for him will forever be with me for the rest of my life. I loved everything about him, his kindness and his care towards me, the way he would always listen to whatever I had to say, any time of day, whether it was after school or late at night. He was always there to listen to me. I don't have a lot to say, but I can't really say it all in words because there's a lot. So I love you, Papa, for the rest of my life, and you will always be in my heart. Thank you.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shivaya Namah. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shivaya Namah. Manas Bajure Guru Charanam. Gustara Bhavasagar Taranam. Guru Maharaj, Jai Jai. தேவன் கோவில் மணியோசை நல்ல செய்திகள் சொல்லும் மணியோசை தேவன் கோவில் மணியோசை நல்ல செய்திகள் சொல்லும் மணியோசை பாவிகள் மீண்டும் ஆண்டவன் காட்டும் பாவிகள் ஆண்டவன் காட்டும் பாசத்தியோசை மணியோசை தேவன் கோவில் மணியோசை நல்ல செய்திகள் சொல்லும் மணியோசை For those of you that are observing the Holy Week of the Ramayan, which starts today, in the Ramayan there is this essential battle, this battle of good over evil, righteous over unrighteous, and the various dualities that we have in life. More often than not, when we have this aspect of life that we deal with, work, family, and the various other parts of our lives, one must realize that doing the righteous thing may not necessarily mean doing or being the best taken with everybody. But again, from the funeral, I gathered that Uncle Alan was an extremely righteous man, always living by principle, always living by the values and the morals that God has instilled in each and every one of us. With that being said, I'd like to call upon Winston, who will do the next tribute. Winston.
Thank you. Very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is truly an honor for me to stand here tonight and pay tribute to a life well lived. Our purpose for gathering here tonight is to remember the life that, Alan has lived and all that he has done from the time he was born until the time he had to leave this earth. We thank God for his life, and it is not difficult for me to stand here, and from my perspective, I do not have to prepare to talk about a man who was just too good, as difficult to find. He's a rare gentleman and a rare person of love, hard to find, absolutely selfless, always looking for ways and means of how he could help somebody, stand alongside someone, lift up their hand, and be that help in their lives. That's who Alan was. One of the things that he had always mentioned to me every week, and they say behind every successful man is a very important woman, and that's his wife. He never failed to talk about his wife. And he tell me every week, one thing, I want to say something, Winston, my wife is too good. She's just too good. And I was, he would just say, she may shout at me at times, but she's too good. Her goodness is just overwhelming. She just does take so much care for me. I just go and sit and she does everything for me. So Babs, I want to say that, you really took care of your husband. He, in his heart, he was so pleased, that you were his wife. That was the ultimate for him. You were the ultimate for him. And I want to thank God for you for taking such good care of this man, even till his last breath. You really did your best together with the family. And I want to honor you today, all that you've done. And he leaves behind a legacy now for the children to carry, for Creason and Tishar and her family and their family. And then we've got Varshan and Ramola and their family. And I was telling Creason last year, you had big shoes to fill. But we'll make sure you fill those shoes. We'll make sure you get there. And I told him, your father put into my heart to make sure that you do your doctor's checkup every year. So I'll have to be taking you there, making sure that you are around to lead the family, because that's what Daddy would have wanted, for you to lead and to be that strong man, to carry his baton. When a life so remarkable as this is lived, it just doesn't go away. It leaves behind a baton for the family to carry, the children to grab and hold on. One of the ways I learned in life is to not miss them so much, is to follow what they used to do. When my mother died and my father died, I went into their history and I found out about them. And it's not difficult for you to know what Daddy did. You'll know what Daddy was. You'll know what pattern to follow. He leaves behind it's a high standard. But I can tell you this much. He's blessed you. At the time that he closed his eyes, he's blessed you to carry that baton. And as you will continue to do all that he did, to perpetuate all that was in his heart, you'll find that you get healed. You'll find that you're still close to him. You'll find that he's not too far away, but he's still in your life, in your hearts, in your minds, not just for you to remember him now, but for you to live out all that was in his heart for him to do for the entire humanity. Ramola said the right thing. Alan was not born just for his own family. Alan was born for many families. The influence that he, that he has made in KwaZulu-Natal and wherever he went is in many households. in many people's lives. Christian, you're going to carry that. You're going to run with that. And I know, like, they say, Daddy's not here now. But Daddy can still shape your life although he's not here. Because you're never going to forget him. You're always going to think about him. He lives in my heart. I mean, I'm not his biological son. But this week was quite a sad week. Every day was a difficult day. I had to phone him because and my wife keeps on asking me, "You're not missing Uncle. You're not missing Uncle." I said, "What do you think?" Laughter has been cut down by 90% plus. Because where do you get a call where you just pick up the phone and you're just laughing? Both of us are just laughing. And the laughter was not just a silly laughter, but very therapeutic. Like a real, deep love laughter. And that's what we used to do. I miss that. I really miss him. But I'm going to make you be like him. If I can make you be like him, then I won't miss him so much. I truly believe that he's graced you. He leaves behind not just wealth in terms of material wealth. He leaves behind his heart, his mind, his soul, and all the qualities that he has for all of you as a family to carry. I found myself doing something the other day that he used to do. I came into the shop. I think Covalent was at the counter, and there was someone that was buying an item, and they did not have money to pay for it. And this was the day after the funeral, I would say, the Monday. It was Monday, and I went there and I looked at them. I couldn't turn away. I was about to walk away because how busy I get, and then I just said, "No, this is the baton that Helen has given me." I looked at that person. I went to Cove and I said, "Don't let her pay for it. Put it on my bill. I'm paying for that." Now that's what Dad used to do everywhere. He didn't have to know you to give to you and to be generous. He was just loving. He'd go to the supermarket. Somebody can't afford to pay for something. And I should be standing with him. He'd just say, "Hang on, just leave it. It's okay. I'm paying for that." Where do you find people like that in the 21st century? It's a rare commodity. But it's a good example to follow. I told you this. Religion was never an issue. It was never a gulf between him and I. Because I saw qualities in him that are so difficult to find in people today. Leave religion out. It's all about, the heart and the mind of people. And it's so difficult to find people like Alan. And I just said, if I could, I followed him as a father because I saw stuff in him that I could learn from. And my wife is here. So she'd phone him every other day to complain about me. Why? Because he had a way of bringing peace. He was not a man of anger. He's not a man of contention. Even if you wronged him or anyone in his family, he'd forgive you. Within 24 hours, it'll be finished. It'll be gone. He said, "It's okay. Let's make peace." That's Alan I know. That's the man that I know. It's very difficult. It's not like a revengeful, wanting to get his piece of flesh out of somebody. No, he just says, "It's okay. Let it go." And with money, he never worshipped money. He never worshipped money. He always said, "You know what? Money we can always make." And I've seen in Alan's life that God blessed him with such a gracing in his life that the more he gave, the more God blessed him with. And that is the man that we stand here today to salute. We remember the steps that he had taken, and the only way that we can honor him is to walk in those steps, is to fulfill the plan that he had in his heart. There's so many things that he had done, and I asked God to give me a little bit of him and his qualities in my life. I spoke to the church on Sunday at both of our services, and I saluted Alan, and the church knows Alan. He was quite often there. He'd come in every week to look at the progress of the building, but he would also come and pick me up, or I would bring him there. So they knew him quite well. And I told the church, if God had to choose people not by your religious beliefs, but he had to choose you by your heart and by your behavior, then Alan would outshine them all. Because this man was an exemplary man. An example that is so rare to find. I'm so glad that I had the opportunity of relating to him for the past 10 years. I'm so glad. My life is fulfilled. But I also want to say, it'll be very difficult to find somebody to fill that space in my life because he was my pastor. He was my pastor. And based on his life, based on his heart was just too good, just too nice, just such a righteous soul. Today, Alan, I want to salute you for all that you left behind as a legacy, not just for your family, but for all of those that are here today. Just a little bit of your character can come into our lives to make us a better people. It's well worth knowing you. It was a pleasure knowing you. I want to thank his family. You'll have really been good to Dad. You'll have really been gracious to him. And also to his extended family, who he would enjoy fellowship with. He looked forward to his extended family coming home and spending those times. It really, all of that to me. And the other night, finally, I watched Liverpool play. And I told him, please, for Alan's sake, go and win. And guess what? They won 4-0 on a Champions League night. At midnight, I made sure I stay awake to watch the match. And I know Alan would have taped it the night over because he wouldn't be able to stay awake so late. But first call in the morning would have been to him and the excitement that he would have had. So I thank God for him. I thank God for his life. It's going to be difficult. The next year is going to be tough. But we stand together, and if we think about him, we will get through. So I bless you all tonight, and may the good Lord be upon your lives. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Winston, for that really befitting tribute. Lastly, as we conclude with the tributes, we'd like to call upon Keshara to do the vote of thanks, and she will be the last speaker for today.
Thank you to our family, both related by blood and those who are family by heart. Over the past few days, the practical help, the comforting hugs, and the prayers have been a true lifeline for us. When we were at our lowest, your support held us up. I want to take a moment to acknowledge a few people that went above and beyond for us. To Uncle Ricky and Auntie Shao. Thank you for helping us and with the coordinating behind the scene details for the food and decor and helping us to make today so special. Thank you to Auntie Intri and Alison for helping us with the photos, and to everyone who sent flowers, meals, and gave us a shoulder to lean on. We appreciate you more than words can say. Your love and support has made a tough day a bit easier, and we will never forget your kindness. We are deeply grateful to those who have visited, called, checked in, and offered us help in so many ways. Your compassion has brought us comfort and strength when we needed it most. It is during these times that you truly see the goodness in people, and we feel incredibly blessed to be surrounded by such caring people. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now commence with the second half of the ceremony, which is the Deeparadhane, and just a symbolic significance as to each aspect. First, we turn the camphor or the light, symbolizing the aspect of light over darkness, the dispelling of ignorance. As Uncle Alan makes his way to his Creator, May this camphor, may this light that we offer illuminate his path, and may him have that much more of a blissful journey. We then offer the petals, the flowers, symbolizing the detachment. Many of us physically has known Uncle Alan in a specific way, in a form as you see him there. But this form is no more. However, the light, the Atma, the soul that's present has to make its journey. It has to now make its journey to its maker. And we ask God that as we offer these petals, we detach from this physical form, and that we allow his soul to make this journey. We allow his soul to reach its final destination. The offerings of fruit and all of these other aspects are the symbolic aspects of the soul wanting anything, if anything it would have wanted, if we haven't provided in whatever way. We offer these as a humble prasad, so that as we partake of them, we are nourished by his love and affection. So with that being said, I think I'll call upon Auntie Babs and Creason and the immediate family. They will come and offer their final respects, and thereafter, once they have completed, you may come through in your family groups and offer your last respects as well. Thank you.
பிதாவே அன்பான தேவ அருளே ரட்சகனே நாவே ஆண்டவரே அப்பா பிதாவே அன்பான தேவ அருளே நாவே ஆண்டவரே நீங்களே रामनीलमेघश्यामा गोविन्दरामा रामनीलमेघश्यामा गोविन्दरामा रघुकुलविशोमा परं नाम सर्वतोमा रघुकुलविशोमा परं नाम सर्वतोमा रामनीलमेघश्यामा गोविन्दरामा रामनीलमेघश्यामा गोविन्दरामा रघुकुलविशोमा परं नाम सर्वतोमा रघुकुलविशोमा परं नाम सर्वतोमा नीलमेघश्यामा रघुराम राम राम रघुराम जय राम 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 जय राम रघुराम राम राम रघुराम जय राम 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 जय राम తల్లి తండ్రి గురువు నీవే తోడు నీవే తల్లి తండ్రి గురువు నీవే తోడు నీవే సరి తల్లి పాలన చేసి పరం జోడివే నాకు చాలు రామయ్య దాసుకి ప్రోగు రామయ్య దాసుకి చాలును రామయ్య దాసుకి ప్రోగు రామయ్య తెలియతలే అంతవసన నీవు మహిమా రామనీలమేఘశ్యామా గోవిन्दరామ రామనీలమేఘశ్యామా గోవిन्दరామ రఘుకులవిశోమా పరం నామ सर्वभूमा रघुकुलविशोमा परं नाम सर्वभूमा नीलमेघश्यामा रघुराम राम राम रघुराम जय राम 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 जय राम रघुराम राम राम रघुराम जय राम 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 जय राम विभूति सुंदर शंकरा विश्वविलासन सुंदरा शिवगामी महेश्वर अंबर पेरुमाळे बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो नमः शिवाय बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो नमः शिवाय बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो नमः शिवाय झूठ जतावे गंगाधारी त्रिशूलधारी डमरू बजावे डम 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 नमः शिवाय नमः I കലാപ്പുഴയും കരുതാപ്പുഴയും കസുണ്ടഴകി നെല്ലാപ്പുഴയും നിനയായ്പുഴയും നിനൈതഴുത சொல்லாப்புழியும் துதையாய்ப்புழியும் தோடாய்ப்புழியும் எல்லாட்புழியும் பொறுதருள்வாய் கட்சியேயதம்மணி அரும் பெருஞ்சோதி தனி பெரும் கருணை தனி பெரும் கருணை அரும் பெருஞ்சோதி ஓம் சாந்தி சாந்தி शांति।
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a sincere thanks from the Naidoo family goes out to each and every one of you for making time out in observing this memorial service of dearest Uncle Alan Naidoo. The family has lovingly requested for you to join them in a meal which is going to be served in a self-service buffet. It is located on the side at the wall there. Please do make your way. Please partake of meals. Also, there are refreshments, there are snacks, there are various items that the family would lovingly like to share with each and every one of you. So please do partake of that before heading off home. And before heading off, please do make some time in consoling the family. They will need all of this in the time to come, by sharing a good thought, by sharing a memory that you have of Uncle Alan. And I think in this we continue to remember him, to continue to remember his good deeds, his good actions, and the love that he has given to each and every one of us for us to be here today. Please do partake of meals and a safe journey back to your home. Mika Nandri, thank you very much.
Go to the left, back there.
Sometimes when you Winston, you ran outside.
But you know, if you drive home walk at night after work, after the person,
Yeah.
5 o'clock. I walk down.
Sitting in the car. Yeah, I know you're going to go. Yeah. Now first week very, I'm like going in the room. Yeah. No. How you gonna do it? You know, when I go in and I look at his clothing, there is golfers and you on one side and girls that came came home and I see the car was there, but I told him, he was there, we got there, and he said, you come. He's gonna go, but I don't know. Oh, you said you were, oh, yeah, you were busy. That's what he told me. But he said, I said, no, you wanted to go home. And he got ready early before I left. It was Saturday. The girls up, I came home and I see the white puppy wasn't there. And I asked, where's Alice? And it's just preserved. Yeah. I came home. I didn't get on the car. I just sat in the car. Friday, Saturday was fine. Sunday as well. I was that Wednesday was a last. We went for breakfast with Sunday and lunch. No, Friday, the week before. Wednesday was the last that we had. Wednesday, and he saw me when we had breakfast. Remember, I told him and I asked him to start laughing at him. Oh, I'm bringing you this stuff. And I said, no, I don't want to go there. I know you're safe.
Talk now. How's it?
Right.
you.